Greetings, my awesome audience. What city and country are you in right now? Are you enjoying this from a little village or a huge urban jungle? Comment below, and don't forget to share. It helps more than you know. Let's go. The storm hammers the job site like some kind of wrathful decree, turning fresh concrete into sludge and sending the crew scrambling for shelter. I watch the foreman waving his arms like he's directing traffic in a hurricane, yelling over the din about shutting things down early. Liability this, Monday that. It's just another Friday hijacked by the sky. I break down my station like I always do. Wire strippers neatly sheathed, multimeter snug in its case, every tool accounted for. Same ritual I've followed day in and day out for 16 years. The others dash around, cursing the rain, but I take my time. Hurrying breeds errors. Better to leave the site right than fast. Dylan makes his way toward me, his helmet dripping. "Carter, you heading out?" "Word is it's only going to get nastier." I nod and swing my bag over my shoulder. I tell myself Laura won't be looking for me until later. It's a half-truth that feels close enough. She gave up waiting on me years ago. Still, something about today feels different. Maybe I'll show up early. Maybe I'll catch her off guard. The drive takes just under half an hour. Rain streaks across the windshield in chaotic patterns, smeared by tired wipers. Our neighborhood, boxy 2 stories from the Reagan years, yards always one mow behind, sits quiet beneath the storm's weight. I pull into the driveway and spot her car already parked. Guess she ditched yoga today. As always, the front door isn't locked. Laura's always believed the world is safer than it is. It used to seem charming. Now it just seems naive. I step inside, leaving wet footprints on the hardwood we painstakingly refinished a few summers back. The air smells like vanilla candles, and something else. A sharp cologne I don't recognize. Masculine. Foreign. "Laura?" I call out. Silence. But upstairs, voices, male, several, and her laugh, soft and melodic, like it used to be when we were new and everything still felt possible. I pause at the bottom of the stairs, listening to the storm beat against the windows. My wife is up there, laughing with men I've never invited into our home. Part of me wants to charge in, demand answers, reclaim what's mine, but a larger part just feels empty. So I climb the stairs slowly, boots hitting each step with dull finality. The voices grow clearer. At the landing, I see the door to our bedroom wide open. She's the first thing I see. Laura, topless, her hair loose and catching the glow like spun gold. She's laughing at something one of them just said. 3 men. One's the guy from her yoga studio. Another's familiar from the weekend trips to that hardware store she insists on visiting. The third's a stranger, mid-20s maybe, the kind of guy who walks like the world always says yes. None of them see me. They're too wrapped up in her, in whatever this is. I stand in the doorway for maybe 10 seconds, long enough to understand this isn't spontaneous. This is routine, practiced, comfortable. I turn and walk away, each step heavy but controlled. My hands don't shake as I begin packing. Underwear, socks, my gear for Monday. I move from room to room like I'm walking through a museum of a life that doesn't belong to me anymore. The kitchen where we made plans, the living room where we fought over TV shows and throw pillows. On the counter, I leave a note, staying at the Hampton Inn off Route 9. I almost write something about love, forgiveness, working through it, but the words feel like they belong to someone else. I sign it simply, Carter. The Hampton smells like bleach and resignation. I pay in cash for a week, tell the woman at the front desk I'm between places. The room is generic. Beige walls, stiff mattress, television bolted to composite wood. I sit down on the bed and check my phone, or that her mother blew everything up before she was even born. Laura's response is barely audible. I made mistakes, terrible ones, but she didn't. I glance at Elise again. She's innocent, that much is true, but innocence doesn't undo damage. I can't. Laura leans toward me. Can't what? I can't play the role of a father. I won't fake love just because we share DNA. I've rebuilt my life since you left. Something honest, untainted. I won't let you stain it again. She is your daughter. She's a stranger to me. A stranger born of betrayal, one that shattered everything we had. Laura's face crumples, but I've already stood. Her voice fractures, small and exhausted. Okay, when she asks about her father one day, I'll tell her I tried. She gathers their things. Elise looks up, confused. Are we leaving? Laura's voice softens. Yes, sweetie. But I haven't finished my castle. You can finish it another time. At the door, Elise gives me a little wave. Bye, I hope you have a good day. Her gentle tone catches me off guard. You too. After they're gone, I stay seated in the sales trailer. I look at the coloring sheet she left. The unicorn is fully done. Carefully filled in, every stroke inside the lines. But the castle is only half-colored, abandoned mid-dream. I toss it in the trash and get back to work. I don't say anything about the visit to Reese that night. Instead, I hold her as she sleeps, listening to the quiet life we've created, a life behind a door that should never reopen. I don't sleep at all. I stay awake beside her, thoughts spiraling around things I never wanted to face, support payments, custody battles, court-ordered DNA tests. At 3 a.m., I give up and go to the kitchen. I brew coffee and sit at the table Reese and I use to plan our lives, the home we've built from the ruins Laura left behind. Maybe I could write something, a letter, to explain to the girl why I can't be part of her world, to leave the door open, just a crack, for someday. I try, twice, scribbling drafts on a yellow legal pad. Dear Elise, I write, but nothing else comes. The words won't follow. Both attempts end up torn to pieces. By dawn, I've made my choice. I call Marcus. He still does family law in Philly, still dealing with the aftermath of other people's disasters. He sounds concerned. Jesus, Carter, when did all this start? Yesterday. Do you think she's yours? She looks like I did at that age. Laura says she's got test results. Marcus shifts into his lawyer voice. Worst case scenario? If she pushes it and proves paternity, you're looking at around 18% of your gross income until she's 18, possibly even back support. After all these years? In Pennsylvania, yes. If she can prove she made an effort to find you, you've done a decent job of staying off the map. I press him. And custody? They can't force you to be a dad, just to pay up. If the test proves you're the biological father, they can take your money. They can't force a relationship. His advice is cold, but clear. Then here's what I recommend. Do nothing. Don't acknowledge her. Don't engage. Sometimes walking away is the kindest thing you can do. After we hang up, I head back to the job site. I work until my hands ache, until my muscles scream for rest. By the afternoon, I know what I have to do. I stop at a FedEx office and send an overnight envelope to the last address Marcus's investigator found for Laura. Inside is a cashier's check for $5,000 and a brief, final message. This will be the only support you receive from me. I am not, and will never be, that child's father. If you contact me, my wife, or interfere with my life again, I will take legal action. I could have taken the money and started over somewhere no one would think to look. But I don't sign the check. When I get home, Reese is in the bookstore, sorting through a stack of inventory while NPR murmurs from the speakers. She looks up and smiles in that way she always does, the kind that makes everything feel steady, familiar, like coming home. Did you have an all right day? She asks. It dragged a little, I say. How about yours? She chuckles lightly. Mrs. Patterson stopped by searching for a romance novel, said she's tired of stories where everyone ends up dead. This is what I'm trying to protect, this calm, undramatic life where an old woman's reading preferences are the most pressing issue. The words come out faster than I expect. I love you. Her brows lift slightly, caught off guard by the suddenness. I love you too. Something wrong? No, I say. Everything's just right. And for the first time all day, I actually believe myself. That weekend, I shift our finances to a different bank and forward our mail to a P.O. box. Small adjustments, but meaningful ones. Laura never contacts me again. The check stays untouched, either because she got the message or found her own way forward. Either way, the silence that follows feels like relief. Time passes. Reese and I start tending a garden. We take a short trip to Philadelphia. We even talk about maybe adopting a dog. Life settles into something soft and manageable again, and I begin to believe that some parts of the past really can stay buried. Then Laura walks into Reese's bookstore. It's a Tuesday afternoon when Reese calls me at the job site. Her voice is calm, but there's an edge under the surface. There's someone here, she says. She says she knows you, wants to talk. I freeze. Did she say her name? She said to tell you it's about Elise. Ice slides through my chest. I'm on my way. Don't let her leave. When I get there, I see them through the storefront glass, Laura sitting in one of the chairs, Elise on the floor nearby, legs crossed, flipping through a children's book. She's 7 now, intent, quiet, completely absorbed in the pages. Reese meets me at the door. She hasn't said why she came, Reese says. I look at her and realize I can't keep the truth from her any longer. Her name's Laura. She's my ex-wife. That little girl is my daughter. Reese's face doesn't shift much, but I can see her absorbing the words. Your daughter? By blood, yes. I've never been part of her life. But you knew about her? I did. Reese nods slowly. What do you want to do? And that, right there, is why I love her. No accusations, no assumptions, just quiet trust that I'll handle it the right way. We walk in together. Laura stands when she sees me. Hi, Carter. I go by Julian now, I say. This is my wife, Reese. A cold smile flickers across her lips. Of course, new name, new life, new wife. What do you want, Laura? The same thing I've always wanted, for you to recognize Elise. We've had this conversation, I remind her. My position hasn't changed. She lifts her chin, her voice firmer now. Well, mine has. We've stopped moving around. I've got a steady job in Scranton, we have a place to live, and Elise is in school. I'm glad to hear that. She needs a father, Laura presses. She started asking why her friends all have dads and she doesn't. I glance at Reese. She says nothing, just listens, steady as ever. That's something for you to handle, I say. Not me. She's a child, Julian, Laura says, voice tightening. She didn't choose any of this. Neither did I reply. You made the choices. You live with the fallout. Elise looks up from her book then, picking up on the shift in tone. Her eyes are alert in that way kids' eyes are when they've grown used to reading a room too fast. Mommy? She says, voice small. Laura's tone softens instantly. It's all right, sweetheart. These are just some friends of mine. Reese steps closer, her gaze lingering on Elise. Her voice is quiet but resolute. She looks like you, she says, not accusatory, just stating a truth. Family isn't made by blood, I answer. Reese meets my eyes. No, but whether you like it or not, there's a connection now. I looked at her, caught off guard. I'd been expecting her to side with me, to offer some comfort. You think I should accept this? I think I need the full picture, all of it. So I tell her. We're in her bookshop, and there, standing between my former wife and the girl who shares my DNA, I reveal everything. The betrayal, the disgrace, the calculated way I let it all implode, then rebuilt a version of myself from the ruins. I came home and found her in our bed, I say, with not just one man, three. Three. She'd been living a lie for years. What I believed was a shared life had been a long, carefully managed performance. Reese doesn't flinch, but her hands go still, unmoving. When I walked out, I took half of what we owned. She got to keep the house, but with it came the mortgage, the utilities, every bill I used to take care of. She lost it all within 6 months, Laura adds. It wasn't out of revenge. You were trying to survive. Maybe, I reply, but it felt like justice. I explained to Reese about the DNA test, how Laura had reached out, asked me to be in Elise's life, and how I chose not to. I've built something real with you, I tell her. Something honest. I won't let my past unravel that. Reese walks over to Elise, who's been pretending to focus on a book, but her ears haven't missed a word. In a gentle voice, she asks, "What's your name, honey?" Elise looks up, steady and composed. Elise Clara Morgan. My daddy died, but Mommy says maybe there's another daddy out there somewhere. And how do you feel about that? Elise pauses to think. I think it would be nice, but only if he wants to be my daddy. I don't want one who's sad about it. Her truth cuts deeper than anything Laura could have said. Reese turns to me. We need to talk. Outside. We step out onto the quiet street. The afternoon is still, the town hushed around us. Her voice is calm. You hid this from me. I didn't lie, I say. I just never brought it up. For 3 years, I kept quiet about a child I never planned to raise, from a marriage that broke me. That's not the same. Reese crosses her arms. From where I stand, it feels like our whole relationship was built on something you chose not to tell me. I am the man who wakes up every day and chooses you, I say. The one who built this life with you. Yes, by choosing what to carry forward and what to leave behind. And you didn't think a 7-year-old child was worth bringing? I think Laura's using her as a tool, and if I open that door, I won't be able to close it. Reese searches my face. Want to know what I think? I don't know, I reply. Maybe I don't. I think you're scared. So scared of getting wounded again that you're willing to hurt a little girl just to stay safe. This is who you married, I say. A man who learned from his past, a man who protects what he's built. She's not a regret, Julian, Reese says softly. She's a child, and she's looking for her father. She had one. He's gone. What I am is just a biological detail. Reese draws back slightly. You hear what you're saying? What am I supposed to do? I ask. Step into her life 7 years late? Let Laura back in because she had a baby and kept it from me? I expect you to do what's right. I am doing what's right, I tell her firmly. No, she replies. Her voice is even, but unshakable. What I hear is fear. Her words fall hard between us. I consider pushing back, defending myself, but mostly, I feel exhausted. Maybe you're right, I say. Maybe fear is part of it, but this is who I am now. If that's not enough, don't make this a test of our marriage. This isn't about our marriage, she says. It's about you, and the responsibility you owe her. I don't owe her anything. You owe her everything. She exists because of the life you chose. You don't get to walk away like you had no part in that. We fall into a silence that feels old, heavy, dangerous. Through the shop window I can see them, Laura and Elise. The girl has found a new book and is smiling at the page. What do you want from me? I ask. Reese's answer is quiet, firm. I want you to go back in there and speak to your daughter. This isn't about duty or entitlement. It's just a conversation. Let her say what she needs to say. Give her something she can hold on to. After that, we'll figure it out. Together. I glance at my wife, the woman who found me when I was at my lowest and helped me piece myself back into someone whole. She's asking me to face something that makes my hands tremble. Okay, I say. Just one talk. We step back inside. Laura meets my eyes with a trace of hope. Elise is already buried in her third book. I approach her gently, like you would a skittish creature. Elise, would you like to ask me anything? She looks up, thoughtful and solemn. Are you my father? Biologically, yes, I answer. We share DNA, but I haven't been a dad to you. I wasn't there. Her next question cuts deeper than I expect. Why weren't you? I glance at Laura before responding. Your mom and I had problems, a long time ago before you were born. I made choices that kept me away. Did you ever think about me? That one hits like a punch to the chest. I thought about a lot of things, I say softly. But none of it was ever your fault, Elise. Grown-ups can make a mess of things, and kids end up caught in the middle. Do you want to be my dad now? I look at her, this little girl with my eyes and an open heart, and she's asking for something I can't honestly promise her. I want you to be loved and safe, I say slowly. I want you to be surrounded by people who make you feel important. But I'm not the person who can be your dad. She processes that in silence, then nods. That's all right, she says. Maybe you'll change your mind one day. Maybe, I say, though we both understand that I won't. Laura stands and gathers Elise's things. She turns to Reese. Thanks for giving us the time. Then to me. And thank you for being honest with her. They leave through the front door. Elise gives a small wave. I watch as they walk down the driveway and disappear into their car. Reese's voice is quiet. How do you feel? Like I might have done the wrong thing for the right reason, or the right thing for the wrong reason. I stare at the space they just left. Do you think she'll come back? I hope not, I say, and realize I mean it. Not because I don't care. There's a small, aching part of me that knows she's mine, but caring doesn't undo what's already been done. That night, Reese and I eat in silence. Later, we sit together on the couch, each of us lost in a book, sharing the same space without the need for words. Just before we head to bed, she speaks. I understand why you made those choices, she says. I don't agree with all of them, but I do understand. Are we okay? We're working on it, she replies. But Julian, if she ever comes back, don't push me away. Let me help this time. Okay, I say. She starts to leave, then stops in the doorway. She really does have your eyes. I know. Do you think you'll wonder about who she grows up to be? What kind of life she lives? I consider lying, giving her something easier, but I choose the truth instead. Every day, I say, for the rest of my life. 5 years later, I'm standing on a ladder, mounting a ceiling fan in a bedroom that feels nothing like the house I once lived in with Laura. The couple who owns the place seems young, probably late 20s, still wrapped in the glow of new marriage. The husband tests the fan with his hand. You think this'll last? He asks. The fan, I mean, or maybe the marriage. I look at him, earnest, likely still within the honeymoon years. The fan will be fine for 20 years if you treat it right, I say. As for the marriage, that'll last as long as you keep choosing each other. His wife chuckles from the hallway. Not exactly poetic. Romance gets you to the wedding, I say, but staying's a choice, every single day. They share a glance. Maybe they think I'm cynical. Maybe I am. Or maybe I just learned the hard way that love without effort is just a dream dressed up like a plan. Reese and I have been together 8 years now. We know each other's silences, each other's hesitations. She runs her bookstore. I run my electrical company. And still, we choose each other. We usually have dinner as a family, plan a yearly vacation, and sometimes find ourselves at odds over finances, or whether adopting a dog makes sense for us. These simple rituals form the fabric of our everyday lives. After that day, I never hear another word from Laura. Elise vanishes from my orbit completely. Occasionally, I catch myself imagining they left Pennsylvania behind for good, moved somewhere untouched by our history, by all that unraveled here. I like to picture them rebuilding, creating something enduring, something they could rely on. I hope Elise got the kind of father she truly needed, even if that role wasn't mine to fill. That same young man calls again, asking how to operate the ceiling fan's remote. I hear his wife laughing in the background about something entirely unrelated. They sound lighthearted, carefree, the kind of joy that belongs to people who haven't yet learned how fragile it all can be. I explain the buttons. Red powers it on, white controls the light, blue adjusts the speed. He repeats it, says thanks, then adds, "And thanks again, for earlier, about making choices." "You're welcome," I reply. "Can I ask you something? Are you content with what you decided?" I glance at Reese, quietly lost in her book, bathed in the soft amber of the setting sun. I look at the life we've built together, the quiet peace we share that gives us both a sense of steadiness. "Yeah," I tell him, "I'm content." Contentment, unlike happiness, has staying power. It weathers the shifts. After we hang up, Reese and I finish our pages, then go inside. We go through our nighttime routine, teeth brushed, doors locked, lights turned off, reassuring habits that anchor us to the life we've chosen. Later, lying in bed with Reese resting against my shoulder, her breathing deepening into sleep, I reflect on the person I used to be. Carter Julian Dalton, someone who believed in limitless do-overs, in a kind of love that could fix anything. That man feels distant now, almost fictional, someone I recall only faintly and never fully understood. I don't miss him. He was too trusting, giving away his faith like it was something to be collected, not realizing some people treat it like tokens. Still, sometimes I wonder how he'd judge the life I live now. What would he say about the choices I made, the relationships I deliberately let go of, the way I've drawn my world smaller just to keep it intact? Maybe he'd call me afraid. Maybe he'd insist that leaving isn't the same as healing, and that changing your name doesn't erase who you are. Maybe he'd be right. Maybe I dressed up fear as integrity. Maybe I stole from Elise the chance to know me as her father, and robbed myself of a daughter, simply because I couldn't face being hurt again. But the truth is, it's often the cautious ones who make it to the end. Measured choices, made repeatedly, start to look like wisdom over time. I've created something steady. I married someone who loves the revised version of myself, the version I could still believe in. I sleep soundly in a home where trust doesn't feel like a gamble. To others, this might seem like a life of constraint, one more ruled by fear than ambition. And maybe that's true, but it's the life I chose. Every morning I wake up thankful for the particular set of circumstances that allow me to live without regret. That has to be enough. 47 missed calls, 62 messages from Laura. They start with "please come home," turn into "you're overreacting," then settle on "we need to talk this out like adults." I erase them all. I don't even finish reading them. Then I change my voicemail. "This number is no longer in service. Do not call again." I wipe my Facebook, delete Instagram, cut the threads connecting me to a life I no longer recognize. The man who believed in anniversaries, couples' accounts, growing old together, that man didn't survive today. What remains is someone else entirely. Someone who won't be surprised to hear his wife's laughter mixing with the voices of strangers in the room they once called theirs. 16 years of building a future, and it all becomes evidence in a moment. I sit back on the bed with a legal pad and begin writing lists like I'm preparing testimony. My mind drifts back to how it all began. She was 24, doing part-time design work for a renovation project I was wiring. I was crouched next to a breaker box in what would become the lobby when she swept in, arms full of blueprints and fabric samples, laughing with the site manager about light fixtures and color palettes. She saw me. "You're the guy doing the wiring, right?" It wasn't a question. It was a fact, casually thrown into the air. I froze mid-motion, wire strippers paused mid-cut. "Guilty as charged," I said with a grin. She laughed, full and genuine, the kind of laugh that could rise above hammers and saws. 8 months later, I asked her to marry me. 2 years on, we bought a house. Built in the 60s, the place had seen better days, but the neighborhood was rising, and the price tag matched our willingness to work. Laura had one dream: a big backyard. She imagined children playing in sprinklers, birthday parties under a pergola I swore I'd build. As she wandered those hollow rooms, her voice carried echoes of future memories. 3 bedrooms, one for us, one we dubbed the nursery, and one for visitors. Because the alternative, leaving yourself open to love's capacity to devastate, is a kind of strength I no longer possess. I left that part of me behind in a motel off Route 9, along with the illusions I had about permanence. Reese murmurs something in her sleep and shifts closer to me. I shut my eyes and listen to the quiet settling of the house around us, solid, safe, just removed enough from the past to feel like peace. Tomorrow, I'll install wiring in someone else's future home. Reese will help people escape into borrowed lives through stories. We'll share coffee, divide the newspaper, and make loose plans for the weekend like couples who've been at this a long time. This isn't the life I once envisioned, back when I was naive enough to think dreaming was all it took. It's the life I claimed when I finally understood the gap between what we wish for and what we're able to withstand. I didn't walk away from Laura to hurt her. I walked away because I couldn't breathe. Some wounds are too tangled to heal with someone else watching. Some betrayals demand a distance that looks like cruelty, but feels like survival. And survival, I've learned, is its own quiet kind of victory, even when it doesn't look like winning, even when the toll is heavier than you imagined, even when the cost is a little girl with your eyes, drawing pictures in a bookstore you'll never step inside again. Our story has come to an end. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the way I tell stories, head over to my channel and check out my other videos. May the force be with you. See you soon, my friend. I rewired the whole house, every socket, every switch, even the kitchen during its overhaul. That pergola? I built it, planter boxes and all. She filled them with lavender, basil, daisies. Every nail I drove, every line I pulled, felt like I was laying a foundation for our forever. But 5 years in, the cracks began to show. We tried for 2 years. Doctors followed. Tests, appointments, charts on the fridge, intimacy scheduled with the precision of a planner. It became routine, mechanical. After the 4th time we lost a pregnancy, I held her as her body trembled with sorrow. "Maybe this isn't meant to be," I whispered. She pulled back, tears in her eyes, fury behind them. "Don't say that. Don't quit on us." So I didn't. I went ahead and built the swing set, because men who make things believe that effort can will something into existence. It's still in the yard, the wood faded to gray, waiting for children who never arrived. The space between us grew so gradually I barely noticed. Laura stayed late at work. She joined yoga, came home tired. I picked up more side gigs, told myself it was for future treatments. We started talking less, just calendars, chores, shopping lists. The deeper conversations disappeared into the silence. I never thought it would come to this. Affairs were stories I heard about, not ones I lived. That Saturday, I called Marcus Hale. We'd been classmates back in high school. He's now a family lawyer, has been for over 15 years. He picked up with caution. "Carter, you holding up?" "I'm managing," I said, though we both knew I was lying. "I need to know what happens next," he explained. "Pennsylvania's a no-fault state, but cheating can still tip the scales with alimony. Evidence mattered. The house, jointly owned. but I'd used my own premarital savings for the down payment. His tone shifted, measured, professional, focused. "If you want my advice," he said, "stick to what you can control. She's going to make it emotional, regret, forgiveness, guilt. Don't get pulled in. Stay grounded. Stick to facts." That afternoon, I went to the bank. The joint account had $47,000. I transferred half into a solo account. When I stopped by the house to grab more clothes, it was empty. Her car was gone, probably at her sister's place. I packed carefully. Work gear, cold weather clothes, my old toolbox from the garage. Upstairs, in the bedroom, the truth waited. A foreign scent on the sheets. Condom wrappers in the trash. A business card for someone named Damien, personal trainer, lifestyle coach. I took photos, sent them to Marcus. Proof, facts. I walked through each room one last time. The kitchen island where we shared nearly every breakfast for 16 years. The couch where we'd fallen asleep to old movies. The guest room, her retreat, her excuse to be alone. It no longer looked like a home we built, but a stage she'd rehearsed on while auditioning a different life. That night, in a roadside motel, I laid out the documents Marcus had prepared. Divorce papers, bank summaries, even a sample custody form that made me laugh, dry and bitter. No kids, just scraps of a life we had to split. She called as I read over the alimony breakdown. I let it ring. Voicemail caught it. I deleted the message unread. Whatever she had to say, tears, apologies, stories, it couldn't undo what I'd seen. By Monday, I knew what I'd do. She could keep the house, but with it, she'd carry the mortgage, the utility bills, the expenses I'd always covered without complaint. Let her win. Let her find out what the prize really costs. In 6 months, she'd understand what I'd truly walked away with. Half a year later, I've become someone else. Legally, officially, according to the DMV and the Social Security Office, I'm Julian C. Harper now. Julian has always been my middle name, so adopting it doesn't feel like lying, more like editing the story to exclude the parts I've outgrown. Northern Pennsylvania is full of tucked-away towns, perfect for men trying to disappear. Men with wreckage behind them and no clear path forward, just hoping for a place where nobody pries too hard. I ended up in a simple rental cabin just outside Cedar Falls, a sleepy town of 2,400 where high school football owns Friday nights and the cafe stays open late exactly once per week. Work comes by word of mouth, quiet and discreet. Tommy Briggs, who runs the hardware store, hears I know my way around wiring and asks me to sort out the electrical in his new shed. I take it for half what a certified electrician would charge, strictly under the table. He's pleased enough with the result to mention me to others. His brother-in-law needs a ceiling fan installed. Mrs. Patterson watches from her dining room as I work. "You've got a gift for this," she says. I smile politely. The truth is, it's not just skill with tools, it's the way I disappear into the work itself. Every outlet I ground, every circuit I complete, every clean wire tucked out of sight, it's proof that I still have purpose, that I still exist. Bit by bit, Cedar Falls begins to accept me. Here, showing up counts more than any resume. I start stopping by Emma's diner, browsing the hardware aisles even when I don't need much, sitting in on the occasional town meeting just to be seen. Then Reese walks into my life, mid-October, when wood smoke curls through the air and the hills are on fire with color. She owns the bookstore, the kind of place that feels like magic managed to resist the online tide. She catches me crouched over a faulty outlet, one hand cradling coffee, dressed in a rust-colored sweater. "You must be Julian." Emma must have mentioned me. Reese looks to be in her mid-30s, dark hair pulled back practically, laugh lines softening eyes that seem to smile more often than not. I stand and offer a grin. That's me. The old line feels different now, less like hiding, more like starting over. She gestures behind her at the chaos. "I'm Reese. Welcome to my beautiful mess." Books crowd every corner, piled high on tables, spilling from boxes and overloaded shelves. The disorder feels lived in, like the place is breathing. I take it in the way an electrician would. It's got charm, just needs a little help with the lighting. We talk while I work. She tells me about being raised here, then leaving for college in Philly, only to come back after her father died and the shop became hers. I tell her I grew up in state too, needed a clean slate, prefer the quiet. It's all true, just not the whole story. She doesn't push for more. That's the first thing I notice about Reese. She listens without trying to fill in the blanks. I stretch the job out over 3 days on purpose. When it's finally done, she steps back, hands wiped on her apron, and smiles at the warm light. It feels like a different place now. Then she adds, almost shyly, "Let me take you to dinner to say thanks." We go to the only proper restaurant in town, vinyl booths, one overworked waitress. She gets the meatloaf. I order fried chicken. We talk about movies, road trips, and the fine line between being alone and being lonely. Halfway through her meal, she pauses, thoughtful. People think nothing ever happens in towns like this. But it does. It just happens at a speed you can actually live with. We let things unfold slowly. Coffee on weekends, dinners with NPR murmuring in the background, cheap movie nights at the old theater with the peeling marquee. Reese never asks about my past, and I never say much. She knows I was married once, that it ended poorly, that I came here to begin again. She doesn't treat it like a mystery, just something I'll share if and when I'm ready. When we finally sleep together, it's deep winter. Snow blankets the bookstore windows. Her small apartment above the shop feels like stepping into a memory box. We're careful with each other, like we know how easy it is to break things. Later, curled beside her in bed, her head resting on my chest, she draws slow circles on my skin with her fingers. In the quiet, she whispers, "You don't have to tell me what happened, but if you ever feel like it, I'll be here." I want to open up, badly, but the truth feels corrosive, like it might ruin the delicate thing we're building. Instead, I press a kiss into her hair and whisper, "Maybe one day." 2 years slip by in that gentle rhythm. I eventually get my license under the new name, start taking on bigger contracts. Reese and I move in together. Her apartment's small, but I don't have much to bring. We talk about marriage like other people talk about road trips. I propose one Tuesday in March, the day after we finish building a new row of shelves for her ever-expanding library. No ring, no romantic dinner, no sweeping promises. Just me, clothes dusty from work, placing a key ring in her hand. Her eyes widen as she stares at them, confused. "What's this?" she asks. "It's ours," I say. "If you want it." It's a simple mid-century ranch house, built in the 50s, resting on a couple acres right outside the city. Nothing fancy, just solid, dependable structure. I spent nearly 8 months on it. New wiring, updated plumbing, refinished floors. Every corner bears the mark of my labor, every improvement made with quiet optimism. Reese looks at the keys, then offers that rare, full smile that brightens her whole face. "I want it," she says. We get married in May, quietly, at the county courthouse. Tommy and his wife come to sign the documents and snap a few pictures. Afterward, we head to the same diner where we had our first date. When Reese laughs at my jokes this time, it doesn't feel like I'm waiting for the walls to collapse around me. That evening, back in the house, our house, she falls asleep with her head resting on my shoulder. I stay awake, listening to the soft creaks of the place settling into itself. My mind drifts to the man I used to be, long gone, hidden under an assumed identity in Pennsylvania. That version of me feels like someone else now. I never told Reese about Laura. That chapter was closed, buried far from reach. But 3 years into our marriage, on a Thursday that starts out ordinary, the past reappears, wearing a sundress and holding the hand of a little girl who looks like me. I'm up on scaffolding at a new build when I hear my old name echo over the noise of drills and hammers. Carter Dalton. I descend carefully, as if each step carries weight. She's waiting just beyond the worksite fence, standing near the gravel. Laura, but not the same woman. She's thinner, her eyes tired in ways I don't remember. A child stands beside her, maybe 6 years old, blonde, slate eyes, and something in her expression stirs something deep in me. Laura speaks with restraint. We need to talk. The crew watches, puzzled. I wave them off and lead her to the sales trailer nearby for some privacy. How'd you track me down? I ask. Her mouth twists, not quite a smile. 3 years, a private investigator. The little girl clings to her dress, half hiding behind it. She has my chin, my nose, that same cursed cowlick I've had since kindergarten. Laura gently rests her palm on the girl's back. This is Elise. She's 6. My brain starts running numbers. 9 months after I disappeared. You have proof? I ask. She nods. They're in the car, but you won't need them. I study the girl again. She wears my father's jawline, my mother's mouth, and Laura's surname. There's no doubt. I keep my voice steady, my tone sharp. What are you here for? The trailer is empty. The table meant for blueprints now our meeting space. Elise climbs into a chair beside her mom and starts swinging her legs, already restless. Laura doesn't ease into it. Russell died. Overdose. 3 months ago. Russell, the younger guy from yoga class. I remember him laughing in my bedroom doorway, back when that was still my life. I'm sorry, I say, because it's what's expected. Her tone shifts, more detached. We got married 2 years ago. Once the divorce went through, he adopted Elise, gave her his name. Then the drugs got worse. Money ran out. She pauses, takes a breath. We lost the house. They've been living in motels. Why come now? I ask. Because she's starting to ask questions, Laura says. She wants to know who her father is, why she doesn't look like Russell. And you deserve to know, too. I glance at the girl, my daughter, now focused on coloring unicorns in a sticker book. She has my focus, that same stubborn attention to detail. She notices me watching and lifts her eyes. Hi, she says. Are you Mommy's friend? I answer. Something like that. Laura continues. She found out she was pregnant about a month after I vanished. Tried convincing Russell he was the father, but the timing didn't add up. She delivered alone, still covered under my health plan during the divorce. Her voice softens. I named her Elise Clara. Clara, for you. I search for a feeling, shock, fury, happiness, but nothing comes. Just a hollow stillness. Laura doesn't stop. I'm not here to wreck what you've built. I know you've moved on. You have a real life now. I just thought you should know. I push past the emotion and get to the heart of it. How much are you asking for? The words come out flat. She flinches, a flicker of pain in her expression. That's not why I agreed to meet. Everything always circles back to money with you, doesn't it, Laura? How much is it this time? She straightens up, suddenly composed. I'm not here to ask for money. I just want you to know her. Maybe not today, maybe not for a long time, but eventually. She deserves that. Deserves? My voice hardens, my jaw tightening. Deserves to know her father chose to disappear?